today is about intonation. I bet you've all heard a little bit about intonation. Like, ah! Okay. So there's both art and science to intonation, and we want to talk about both of them a little bit today. Let's talk about the physical elements though of pitch. You might not have thought through how this works, or you might not have. Maybe it's never been explained. What is sound? Waves. What's a wave?
That's what New York had.
Yeah. Anybody know what a sound wave is? Huh? Okay. So if you look at what Dave's doing, he's doing this rolling motion. So that is kind of the deal. A sound is a wave is a series of pulses that go through a medium. And when we talk about a medium, any idea what the medium is we're talking about? Air. Right. So if I'm talking here, my vocal cords are sending pulses of energy through air. So if I'm in outer space and we want to have a conversation, how well would that work? Not very well, because you might be able to read my lips, but you wouldn't hear anything because there'd be no medium to carry that. So when you got to generate the sound somehow, whether it's through a reed or through your lips buzzing, your vocal cords hitting a triangle, that all generates these pulses of energy. Okay, and then they hit your ear. All right. So at that point, it's mechanical energy. What does the ear do? Okay. Say it a little louder.
It catches the waves.
It catches the waves. What does it do with them when it catches them? It converts them. Converts them into what? Well, no, it's already sound. So it converts them into electrical pulses. Really? So your nerves, the sounds are carried to your brain through really slight electrical pulses through your nervous system. So it's actually converting this mechanic. So it's a lot like a microphone, right? It's exactly the same thing. Okay, and then it turns into your brain, and your brain then translates that to say, oh, what I just heard was a B flat. Right? Okay, so there's a lot going on here. We don't think about it. Now these pulses, as we determine, pitch is determined by how many pulses come in every second. Right? So does anybody know the note that we tune to in an orchestra?
A.
It's A, and most orchestras have a particular version of the A that they tune to. Anybody know what that's called? 440. A440 is a common one. Doesn't have to be that. Well, what's the 440 mean? 440 what's? Yeah, exactly. So can you count to 440 in a second? You can't. But you know what? Your brain can, even though you can't maybe count that fast, your brain can. So let's just do a little exercise here. I'm going to play two different notes, and I want you to tell me if you can recognize one of them being higher than the other. Here's the first note. Here's the second note.
The second note's higher.
First.
The second one's higher.
Seconds long. So it's only 8 pulses a second difference, right? So, but you can actually hear it, right? Mm-hmm. So it's pretty amazing what goes on here. So even though it seems like it should be impossible to do that, you actually can hear the difference. Okay. So one of the things, so that alone helps us play in tune, is just being able to hear those differences. If you look at this piano keyboard here, if you take the highest note, can you hit there, Mr. Queen, does that work? Just hit that high C. That's how many beats a second?
4,180.
Give or take. Right? And then the bottom note, the low A. 27. So you can almost count 27 beats, right? Almost. Okay, but you can definitely hear that there's a big difference between the two. So one of the things that you can definitely hear is if two players are not quite in tune trying to play the same pitch, right? Because what happens there, so I'm showing this chart that shows our wave, and if you notice, this first one has nine pulses coming through, or 8 pulses where the line is drawn, and then the second one has actually 9 pulses in that same period of time. So which one's sharper, which one's flatter?
The second player is sharper.
The second one is sharper because it has one extra pulse coming in that same period of time. Not very sharp, just a little bit, right? Okay, and so then if you look here, under 4, you can see, so one of the things that happens when you play in tune, you actually sound louder. All right, so if you listen to the great orchestras, they don't necessarily blow harder or bow harder, they play in tune. Because when we're all playing in tune, we're complementing each other, we're amplifying each other. If you look at this point at 4, where the one wave is going up and the other wave is going down, it honestly is canceling each other out. So if you're sitting next to a person and you're not playing in tune with them, you're canceling each other out a little bit. So let's see if we can hear that. So what you can actually hear then is you can hear a sweeping sound when things are just almost in tune, where it goes between the amplified point, which is at 1 and 8, and then the cancellation point, which is here shown on this chart as number 4. Let's see if we can hear that. Okay, I'm going to ask you to figure out how many beats were off. Here's our higher pitch. Here's our higher pitch. And here's our lower pitch. We did that earlier. Okay, first of all, can you hear the pulsation?
Yes.
Okay, what I want you to do is count how many times a second you think that pulsation is happening. How many? 30 a second? Can you count 30 a second?
Well,
So-
because I'm saying, a second.
Yeah.
About 5 times.
How many times do you hear a pulsation?
5.
5? How many people say 5? How many say 2? Let's hear it again. Okay, can you hear that pulsation of 2? Okay, so the higher pitch is 442 and the lower pitch is 440. All right, so you can we get a couple trumpet players to try to get that kind of pulsation? Try. Let's just see if we can hear it from live instruments. So one of you play just a little flatter than the other one. Just play your G. Oh yeah. Now try to eliminate it. Try to get them locked right into where we don't hear any pulsation. I'm hearing less than 1 a second, so that's pretty close, pretty darn close. So if you hear that pulsation, have you ever heard that pulsation before when you're playing? I mean, that's what it is, right? So one of you is got to adjust, or both of you, to come together. And if you can come together, the whole sound is just so much richer, right? This is an advanced concept, so I don't expect all of you are going to be able to do that all the time. But I want you to be aware of it, because this is what really advanced musicians do. Again, if you listen to the best orchestras, they're powerful because the pitch is just so uniform throughout the orchestra.